What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going over college football, covering week 12 and week 13. Pretty eventful, I would say. A lot of stuff happening with college football playoff. If you hear anything in the background, I have a cartoon going currently. And then the cards in the back, it's 2013 Topps Platinum, which is funny. Actually, it's called Platinum because the front is, is your normal card, but the back of it's like actual legit, like paper, like not even cardstock, just paper. So I thought that was pretty funny. So let's go ahead and get into it. Terrible Tuesday through Friday. Saturday we did pretty well. Tuesday we got the Kent State game and West Michigan game wrong. We got both those games wrong. Kent State beat Akron 42-35 in overtime, and West Michigan beat Ohio 17-13. Yes, both one-score games. I picked UMass. Don't ask why. I was hoping, and they got blown out. So, Northern Illinois beat them 45-3. And then we got the Clemson-Louisville game wrong on Friday, which I forgot to put the score for, but I'm sure I wrote it on the back, so we'll get to that. In total, we went 4-4 for the midweek. West Michigan had a fourth quarter touchdown, beat Ohio for a bowl game eligibility, 17-13. Once down 18 points in the fourth quarter, Akron forces overtime but comes up short versus Kent State, 42-35. I actually turned that game off, and then I saw it was close, and then I came back and watched it, and then they came up short. Central Michigan doubles up Buffalo for bowl eligibility for the first time since 2021, 38-19. Northern Illinois blows out UMass 45-3. UMass might not get and win the whole season. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. And Kent State did not get a win last year, and look how they're doing this year. Toledo was bowl eligible after a win versus Miami, Ohio, 24-3. We'll speak on Miami, Ohio's quarterback at some point in this video. Old Dominion shuts out Troy 33-0 in dominating win. Louisville misses 7 points worth of kicks, 2 field goals, and 1 PAT. They lost 20-19, likely out of the playoff contention. Again, talk about playoffs and all that later. In Oregon, I don't even know what I wrote there. Oh, plows, probably. Oregon plows over Minnesota 42-13. So, there's that. Saturday, we went 36-15, which is not terrible. We got the Arizona-Cincinnati game wrong. That was 30-24 in favor of Arizona. We got the Navy South Florida game wrong. That was 41-38. We got the Tulsa-Oregon State game wrong, 31-14. We got the Oklahoma-Alabama game wrong, 23-21. We got the Virginia versus Duke game wrong, 34-17. We had the Penn State versus Michigan State game wrong, 28-10. We had the Nevada versus San Jose State game wrong, 55-10. Nevada was like 1-8 or 2-9, 2-8. One of those two going into that game, by the way. Texas State blew out Southern Miss 41-14. Texas State was like 4-6 maybe, and Southern Miss was like 7-2. Wake Forest beat North Carolina 28-12. I don't know why I picked North Carolina. Don't ask. FIU beat Liberty 34-27. Georgia Southern beat Coastal 45-40. Sam Houston knocked off Delaware 26-23. Jack State beat Kennesaw State 35-26, and then San Diego State beat Boise State 17-7. Grand total, we went 36-15 on Saturday. We went 40-19 in total, which is 67.8%, which puts us at 495 and 177 through 666 games for 74%. So the grand total season percentage did not change. Your headlines from Saturday: Indiana rolls through Wisconsin 31-7. It was like 10-7 at halftime or something like that. Texas A&M, largest comeback in school history for South Carolina, 31-30. South Carolina once led 30-3. And I was telling people, I was like, there's a difference between a 3-wins team and a undefeated team. You can't finish out a game and one just doesn't give up. Notre Dame rolls past Pitt 37-15. I kind of expected they would. Pitt got a little overrated again like last year. Michigan with the walk-off field goal to beat Northwestern at Wrigley Field 24-22. Navy upsets USF 41-38, 39 total points scored in the fourth quarter. If any of you watched it, I did not. That fourth quarter must have been crazy. 39 combined points. Arizona upset Cincinnati on the road 30-24. Oklahoma State had 5 turnovers and lost versus Kansas State 14-6. Can't turn the ball over 5 times and expect to win. East Michigan coach Chris Creighton with his 200th win in FBS play versus Ball State 24-9. LSU beats Arkansas with a fourth quarter touchdown 23-22. Arizona State had late fourth quarter field goal to beat West Virginia 25-23. Caleb Hawkins from North Texas had a school record 5 rushing touchdowns and win versus UAB 53-24. New Mexico scores 10 fourth quarter points to beat Colorado State 20-17. Missouri State had 14 fourth quarter points to beat UTEP 38-24. USC keeps playoffs alive and win versus Iowa 26-21 with a fourth quarter touchdown. Texas State stuns 7-2 Southern Miss 41-14. 1-8 Nevada blows out San Jose State 55-10. Miami wins big versus NC State 41-7. Oklahoma had a fourth quarter field goal to beat Alabama 23-21. Georgia Tech had a last-second field goal to beat 1-10 Boston College 36-34. Poor Boston College. James Madison blows out App State 58-10. East Carolina takes down Memphis with late touchdown in fourth quarter 31-27. Ole Miss had 14 fourth quarter points to beat Florida 34-24. Georgia dominated Texas 33 or 35, probably 35 to 10. Liberty forces overtime with last second field goal just to lose in overtime to FIU 34-27. Sam Houston takes down Delaware 26-23 for just their second win of the year. UNLV beats Utah State in double overtime 29-26, and San Diego State takes down Boise State 17-7. There we go. Okay. Bowl teams added. Not a lot. Just 4. Old 6-4 schools: West Michigan, Central Michigan, Toledo, so the Midwest, and LSU. So kind of weird to see LSU joining in with those other schools, but it is what it is. So AP poll doesn't really mean anything in this part of the year, but here we are. We're going to go through it anyway. Your shifts: Alabama dropped from 4 to 10. Oklahoma went from 11 to 8, and Texas dropped from 10 to 17. Texas, like I said, the whole year is overrated and shouldn't make playoffs, but whatever. The new schools: North Texas is back, number 22. Mizzou is back, number 23. Tulane is 24, and Houston is 25. Your schools that got dropped out are Louisville, South Florida, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M did not move at all. Georgia +1, Ole Miss +1, Texas Tech +2, Oregon State put Oklahoma +3. Notre Dame stayed put Alabama -6, BYU +1, Vandy +1, Utah and Miami +2, Georgia Tech -1, USC +1. I think the biggest jump was Texas -7. Michigan stayed put, Virginia and Tennessee +1, James Madison +3, and then North Texas, Mizzou, Tulane, and Houston all new, so they didn't really change. So college football. CFP rankings, this is what you have to pay attention to. Here's your full list, and I'll get through it. Your first 4 by as of last week. Again, I do last week's, that way we can kind of talk about how their games kind of influenced what would be this upcoming week's decisions. First 4 by Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama. Were you surprised? No. Is Alabama going to have that first round bye now? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? And after that, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma, BYU, Utah, Vandy, Miami, Georgia Tech, USC, Michigan, Virginia, Louisville. I'm not sure what that one is. Pitt, Tennessee, USF, and um, Cincinnati. It might be Iowa. Yeah, it probably is Iowa, actually. The ones with the stars next to their name is the ones who are current or were currently in as of last week going into this week. Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, and then you jump a little bit down to Miami, and then USF. Again, USF is only in there because the best group of 5 school gets in. That's just how it is. Now, I disagree with Miami, no offense, but I just don't think they should be in compared to some other schools. I would really like to see Oklahoma in there. Maybe Vandy, although probably not Vandy. Maybe Georgia Tech. Again, maybe not, probably them. You're likely out schools who were in the top 25 for CFP, but have lost. Louisville lost to Clemson 20-19. Pitt lost to Notre Dame 37-15. Iowa lost versus USC 26-21. South Florida lost versus Navy 41-38. Cincinnati lost to Arizona 30-24. Now, just because it doesn't matter who they played or whatever, they just could not lose anymore. That was their situation, and they lost. Your possible out: Texas lost to Georgia 35-10. Georgia Tech won versus Boston College 36-34, and Michigan beat Northwestern 24-20. Now, these schools were borderline. They had to have some good things happen to influx. Texas possibly out just because they got beat by 25 points to Georgia. Georgia Tech might be out just because they barely beat Boston College by 2 points. Like, that should not be happening for a college football contending team, really, no matter what. And then Michigan barely beat Northwestern 24-22, came to a walk-off field goal. Again, yes, winning is important, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to college football rankings and playoffs, the scores matters as well. Like, one team can get in because they beat one school by 2 touchdowns, and the other school ain't going to get in because they beat them by, say, a field goal. Possibly in schools who really needed a big win, and they got it. BYU won versus TCU 44-13. USC beat Iowa 26-21. James Madison beat App State 58-10. Again, it doesn't really matter what James Madison, who they really play as much. As long as they can win and keep blowing schools out, they will most likely make it. Tulane beat FAU 35-24. Staying put, teams who, whether they won or lost, really didn't have an input on anything. Oregon beat Minnesota 42-13. Indiana beat Wisconsin 31-7. Ohio State beat UCLA 48-10. Texas A&M beat South Carolina 31-30. Texas A&M might drop maybe one spot, but just because they're still undefeated, probably not. Alabama lost to Oklahoma 23-21. They're gonna drop. Don't get me wrong, they aren't gonna have first round bye anymore, but they're still gonna be in for sure. Georgia beat Texas 35-10. Texas Tech beat UCF 48-9. Ole Miss beat Florida 34-24. Notre Dame beat Pitt 37-15, and then Miami beat NC State 41-7. Likely in, who was not in last week, like I said, Oklahoma needs to be in, and they just proved it by beating Alabama on the road 23-21. Get Oklahoma in and take Miami out. That's just my opinion. Week 13 headlines. Here we go. Miami, Ohio quarterback. Like I said, we'll talk about him. 7th-year senior DeQuan Finn has left his team, just no longer on the roster, to prepare for the NFL draft. Yes, a 7th-year senior is preparing for the NFL draft. Currently tied for 2nd place in the conference, right? They have a chance to go win the MAC, and he just left. A lot of mixed feelings. I know a lot of people said that NFL GMs are not going to want him now, especially after that, and I honestly agree. FCS Fordham linebacker James Conway is the new NCAA D1 leader in career tackles with 577. So that's pretty cool. And we have a record setting in from the FCS, no less. And UConn quarterback Joe Fagnano has thrown his first pick of the season, and he was jinxed. And the reason I say that, I don't know how many of you on social media, but a bunch of the news outlets, that cover sports, college sports primarily, posted that week 13 or whatever, and he has not thrown a single pick. Sure enough, he threw a pick. So, well, basically the announcer's jinx. James Franklin is the current front runner for Virginia Tech head coaching job per several sources. So we'll see what happens with that. In your top games of the week, Hawaii at UNLV, Mizzou at Oklahoma, Louisville at SMU, at USC at Oregon, Duke at North Carolina, TCU at Houston, Pitt at Georgia Tech, Nebraska at Penn State, and BYU at Cincinnati. We'll go ahead and get into our picks real quick. Tuesday, we're going to take Akron versus Bowling Green on the road. We're going to take Ohio at home versus UMass. Should be an easy win for Ohio. Should be. West Michigan on the road versus Northern Illinois. We're going to take West Michigan. We're going to take Buffalo at home versus Miami, Ohio. We'll see how Ohio does with their new quarterback. We're going to take Central Michigan on the road versus Kent State. We're going to take Arkansas State at home versus Louisiana. Not favored to win, but we're going to take them anyway. We're going to take NC State at home versus Florida State. NC State has been great at home this year. We're going to take them at home versus the Seminoles. Then we're going to take Hawaii, who's been very good this year, on the road versus UNLV. And then Saturday, we have 56 games. Whew, that's a lot. We have a lot of strings of home and away teams, so we're just going to go with that a lot. First three, we're going to take the home teams. Ohio State at home versus Rutgers, Texas A&M at home versus Samford, FCS school. Like, come on. What is Samford doing in here in week 13 for Texas A&M schools? And then Oklahoma at home versus Mizzou. We're going to take Miami on the road versus Virginia Tech. We're going to take SMU at home versus Louisville. We're going to take Minnesota in Northwestern. We're going to take a slew of home teams coming up. Wake Forest at home versus Delaware. Iowa State hosts Kansas. Army hosts Tulsa. Georgia hosts Charlotte. Like, why is Georgia playing Charlotte? Like, come on. It's probably for senior day, honestly, because we have this week and then next week, and that's it. That's it for the regular season, besides Army-Navy game, which is its own week. James Madison at home versus Washington State, and Arizona at home versus Baylor. We're going to take Old Dominion on the road versus Georgia Southern. We're going to take another slew of home teams. Alabama plays Eastern Illinois. Like, come on. Auburn hosts Mercer. Come on. Like, I understand it's senior day, but that doesn't mean you have to play, FCS or horrendous FBS schools. We're going to take Kennesaw State at home versus Missouri State. We're going to take Wyoming hosting Nevada. And we're going to take Toledo at home versus Ball State. We're going to take 3 road teams in a row. We're going to take Marshall on the road versus App State. We're going to take South Florida versus UAB. And we're going to take UConn versus FAU. We're going to take Louisiana Tech at home versus Liberty. Liberty, I think, is projected to win, but who cares? We're going to take Middle Tennessee at home versus Sam Houston. Battle of, not two very good schools. We're going to take New Mexico State on the road versus UTEP. We're going to take 5 straight home teams. We're going to take Oregon versus USC, Notre Dame versus Syracuse, Texas versus Arkansas, Vandy versus Kentucky, and Iowa hosting Michigan State. We're going to take Duke on the road in Chapel Hill. We're going to take Jack State versus FIU. We're going to take Southern Miss versus South Alabama. We're going to take ECU on the road versus UTSA. We're going to take Tulane on the road versus Temple. We're going to take Utah at home versus Kansas State. We're going to take Michigan in a Big Ten matchup versus Maryland. We're going to take Houston, newly ranked Houston, at home versus TCU. We're going to take really a whole slew of home teams again. We're going to take UCF at home versus Oklahoma State, Troy versus Georgia State, South Carolina Gamecocks hosting Coastal Carolina, Clemson hosting Furman. Yes, I'm not making that up, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take Texas State at home versus UL Monroe. We're going to take Georgia Tech at home versus Pitt, give Pitt back-to-back losses. We're going to take Nebraska on the road versus Penn State, go in and take care of business. New Mexico, we're going to take them over Air Force. We're going to take Boise State, hopefully with a bounce-back win versus Colorado State. We're going to take the Fighting Illini to just squish my Wisconsin Badgers. We're going to take the Tennessee Vols, take down the Florida Gators in the Swamp. We're going to take Cal versus Stanford. That'll be a great game, rivalry. Usually we're going to take North Texas versus Rice. We're going to take LSU at home versus Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's good, don't get me wrong, but versus LSU, probably not. We're going to take BYU on the road versus Cincinnati. Arizona State on the road versus Colorado. We're going to take Washington versus UCLA going down the West Coast. We're going to take Fresno State at home versus Utah State. And the last game of the day, San Diego State versus San Jose State. Again, they are in order from noon to probably like 10:30 or whatever. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know who you're supporting, who your team is, and hopefully everybody enjoyed last week's college football. Until next time, guys. See ya.